know is I have nitro cold brew, and my life is better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I want to try the new autumn blend. It looks real good.
But it's autumn. What is it?
I don't remember right now. I just saw it and was like, oh.
I can't remember because there was like 1,000 names before.
Really?
We settled on it.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's so I couldn't remember what that is. I was like, even right now I'm like trying to look for a picture. This is great.
No, I got it. I'm checking. I'm checking it my phone.
Don't send me coffee. They don't send me coffee anymore. They send it to Amy because one time the post office did not deliver a package and sent it back to them and said like package wasn't picked up. And so they're like, "Oh, you don't want the coffee anymore? Fine.
We'll send it to your wife."
Yeah, then we won't ship you coffee ever again. And I haven't.
Yeah. Where is it? I swear. Is it not on the Instagram? Because the other one was the Huntress blend, which just came out, which was the Ruby stuff.
Yeah, which was cool.
That looks awesome.
No, the Ruby blend is dope.
I'm waiting for mine to come in.
Talk about another podcast. I didn't know Kevin had these like Star Wars Explained people.
I didn't either until he told me yesterday at like 6 p.m. and I was out at the beach and was like, I need this by Monday morning. I was like, oh, okay. Where is this? I can't.
That's totally fine. I was gonna say we talked about the most popular anime podcast out there. Like,
we talked about Trash
We've
Talk.
talked about them a couple. Talked about them a couple times. Because like there's just weeks that sometimes we coincide with them, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Way to go, Kevin.
Yeah. I keep going like I keep going like, hey, where's the guests? Like I thought I was doing guests. Oh, Ben, let me hit you with the link too, so you can see chat if you want.
Oh, okay.
Because we do have the Patreon peoples. Where is this? I sent it to Tim. Where did it?
Yes, you did.
Right.
It's all. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah. Boom.
What's the episode announcement? No,
yeah, well,
just added the.
You added the role.
The appropriate rank.
Because that's how we do it here.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's unlisted.
No,
it's an unlisted. Yeah. There you go.
I got it.
Ben was like, "Oh, that makes all the sense."
We're learning. We're doing better.
It just sometimes it takes us a couple weeks to get it figured out. We got the Patreon out at what, week 8, something like that.
It was week 8.
After joking about it for 8 weeks before that,
we just memed it. I mean, to put in perspective how memey the Patreon has been, we have a $500 tier that's like, do this, pick one of the boys, we'll get any anime outfit of your choice and cosplay it with a photo shoot.
And all to dress up like a magical girl.
It's never gonna happen.
Brave.
Ever. It's never gonna happen. It's fine. That's why I'm comfortable doing it. Bees, Cherry, welcome. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. We're gonna start here in probably about 3 to 4 minutes. Just gonna finish this out, get like the warm up of like, hey guys, like we're having a good time.
Do you wanna see Patreon exclusive? Check this out. Yeah.
No, it's good.
I
really need to get the cam set up. Like it's
we just need to get the green screen anime angles, the sound effects going.
Oh my goodness.
There you go. There's your Patreon content.
Tim, can you just do me a favor?
I have the green screen wall.
Tim, I just need you to do this, like on your green screen, and edit like a fireball into your hand for no reason. Just whoosh.
Okay, so you're asking me to, once this VOD is processed,
yes,
rip it down.
Yes.
Go into Premiere.
Yes.
And After Effects, edit in a fireball, and then repost it.
Yes.
Sounds like a really good use of everyone's time.
Yeah,
Totally
it seems like a
reasonable.
great use of my time.
Actually, I feel like I should be comfy because Tim is going to be so bogged down with homework that he's going to look at me and go,
yeah,
I'm
I was going to say,
dying.
it's not like I don't have like plenty of coding homework to do the rest of my week.
Oh, Lord. Ben, so, just so for Tim is finishing up his degree at Clarkson for, it's not chem engineering, is it? You were doing chem for a while.
Yeah. I was never doing chemical engineering because...
You talked about doing chem.
Yeah, I talked about doing.
Oh, that's right. You never
engineering.
changed the major. That's right.
Yeah, I thought about going to chemical, and I also thought about going to engineering and management, because then I basically would have had an MBA and a business and an engineering degree, so it would have been cool. But they were like, you need 3.5 more semesters worth of classes to do that. And I was like, excuse me, what?
No, thank you. Bees, we're not talking God of High School tonight. We're literally just gonna kind of run off the seat of our pants and talk Baki when whatever else comes up. If things get crazy at the end, we may do TLDRs for Ben on Rent a Girlfriend and ReZero.
Honestly, we could give Ben the TLDR on God of High School too, up until this week's episode. Because
we could.
People have told me that I would enjoy that show.
Honestly, if you like Baki, I think it's definitely.
Everyone said it's a tournament anime. Like it
is a tournament
very
anime.
much a tournament anime. The only
The
problem
first season is for sure.
I mean, like, and I think you'd really enjoy it as well, just because it gets a lot of like Eastern mythology into it at some level, and I don't want to spoil why or how, but like there's a lot of like soft mythology in it that allows you to have
It's
like
not soft.
I mean,
it's
like
very hard. Don't let him lie to you.
It's soft mythology up until where we are, and then it makes a lot of sense. And like, there's like,
Does it make sense? I don't. Does it?
It doesn't make sense. Don't let him. Paul is like trying to sell this show. Honestly, the animation is great. The story is, it's a tournament arc. It's one big tournament arc. What do you expect?
I think the biggest thing that Ben would enjoy is like the actual choreography of the fight scenes, because Mappa's entire like MO is good use of 3D camera space within anime to build like rotating cameras and everything, and like in the stuff that so you remember the first season of Baki where they did like the pseudo 3G stuff from Netflix, where they like the pseudo 3G like 3D character fighting.
Yeah,
imagine
totally.
that except good. Imagine that except good.
No, yeah. I was like, this is when I saw that, I said, I don't prefer this, but it's there, and I know it will get better because this looks like a first try.
That's exactly what it was.
We very much.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. Yeah, and then they just well, I guess they released it when they released the most recent, or like right after the most recent season of Baki. What's that show? It's like people who fight for a bunch of corporations. God damn it. Words.
Is it an anime?
On Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, time to go look. Because I haven't watched most of the Netflix anime. I'm really bad about it.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to Netflix most of the time.
I'm zooming to Netflix right
I'm
now.
a bad
Everyone's
weeb.
zooming. I'm zooming through it.
I'm trying to like corporation. Is it like new? Or is it old?
Ashura.
I found Haikyuu on Netflix.
Kengan
which
Ashura.
obviously
I've
was
never.
Kengan Ashura. Yeah. Enter a hidden world where corporate disputes are settled in brutal gladiatorial bouts.
Oh, yeah.
He just wants to fight and win. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds like that could be really fun.
Okay. Okay. Caution for you, Tim.
I shit on it because it uses the 3D, like the same 3D thing, and I said that while I was streaming, and a bunch of people were like, no, they fixed it. Like that's basically that was everyone's attitude, and I said, oh, okay, yeah.
We have very strong feelings and emotions about 3D animation in our anime.
So many. We've seen so many bad one takes. Okay, long story short, Tim, it literally looks like Berserk mixed with Baki.
Okay, so you're not selling me on the bad parts of this.
I didn't say there was bad parts. I just said it's like Berserk and Baki in the same thing. I don't know what to tell you.
I loved Berserk and I loved Baki. That sounds very oh god, never mind, it's over.
Oh, did you just see what it looks like?
Yeah, the trailer just, oh god, make it stop.
Yeah, that's all I saw too was the trailer, and they're like, no, that trailer is garbage. So I don't know if they were trying to trick me, but yeah.
Oh god. How many episodes? 12?
No, 12 in 3 seasons. 12 in 3 parts. There's 3 parts.
Okay. Oh no, sir, please. There's 2. There's 2 parts.
There's 2 parts.
This was animated.
Oh,
see,
no,
like
episode 1 of season 2, you can see it in the thumbnail. It still looks like that. Fuck it. Nope, not happening. Cut it. It's all
so
over.
you also have to realize
Don't let them lie to you.
we watch a lot of anime, right? And so like this last season, they came out with Monster Doctor Girl and Monster Girl Doctor and Gibiate. Now, Monster Girl Doctor, like, we knew it was going to be bad. It's like 3D ecchi trash. Like, it's literally just like here for the sex appeal with animals and monsters for no reason, right?
We knew what we were getting into.
And so I stopped watching after the first episode because it just wasn't worth the ecchi or the bad 3D CG. It literally looked like it was copy and pasted.
Through the first episode.
Yeah, when a show is so bad that, like I'll watch pretty much anything at least once. Yeah. I couldn't make it through episode 1 and still can't watch that show. That's how bad that show is. I was like very disappointed.
Okay, and then
I thought it was gonna be a great meme.
And then Gibiate, I was so looking forward to because it was like literally Samurai Jack the anime. Like two Edo Japanese swordsmen get teleported to the present and they're like, yeah, we're gonna fight these monsters and like save all the people while trying to find a cure for these monsters. And this 3D CGI, and I'm not kidding, literally looked like the dude was doing like, he literally T-posed on somebody and then like bent at his like rib cage instead of his hips and like laid like just went and bowed at them to try and attack them. And that was the moment that I couldn't do that anymore.
T-pose for dominance.
So we have very strong thoughts about 3D CG because that's what happens when it's not done well. I'm interested to see Dragon's Dogma because I've seen some of it and it looks like it was well done. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Yes.
Let's get started. We'll do our quick news thing and then we'll just start talking Baki and whatever else comes.
Sick. I'm going to bring up Wikipedia so I don't forget names and sound like an ass.
It's okay.
Don't worry.
I do that regularly.
I can't remember them.
Yeah. That's the whole bit is like I sit there and I spend half the podcast correcting Paul's Japanese.
Yeah, it's real bad. Okay, here we go. Guys, welcome to Studio Blank, the anime and manga podcast where you can follow your news, reviews, and views on all things weeb every single week. I'm your host, Paul, with my co-hosts Nate and Tim, and this week we're joined by a very special guest. He happens to be my boss, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun.
Unfortunate. I forgot. I have to leave now.
Guys, welcome Professor Broman, otherwise known as Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben.
It's this is stoked. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast because like
this is fun.
Baki. Like we're gonna talk all about Baki. We're gonna get through your news real quick because there is some big news.
I'm excited about your news.
Comfy is the most excited for this first thing, so I'll just let him take it away because he did what I did when Legend of Galactic Heroes got announced for a second season.
Man, so do you guys ever watch Sword Art Online and you're like, wow, I wish this was good? Well, now it will be, hopefully, because years later, the original writer of Sword Art decided to go back and rewrite it, but do every single floor and just make it really long and in depth. And that's getting picked up into an anime. What is it, Tim? It's 2022?
Yep.
Yeah.
November
16th.
November 16th. November 16th, 2022.
So
My English.
Sword Art Online Progressive, which is what it's called, is going to be much longer.
Yep.
And have be a lot more in-depth and carry more story, which I'm excited for because the first arc of Sword Art was actually decent as a concept. But
and then it got real bad.
It got weird.
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting weird. So
I'm
excited for it. I'll watch it. So
I have made it very clear on previous episodes of the podcast about how I feel about SAO. But they've told me that this is the only time that SAO has ever been good, so I'll have to give it a shot. And if it still sucks, I will never stop flaming anyone that gives SAO a top tier rating because it just can't be good if this is bad.
So Ben, I want to give you some context here just so you can have some fun.
We talk about Sword Art Online?
But not even just Sword Art Online. We're talking about the fact that Sword Art Online, after that first season, basically becomes the rest of Sword Art Online is the final season of Game of Thrones.
Oh, I was going to say, I really like Sword Art Online. I really love how they have a really nice 13-episode story arc and then stop making anything after that.
Dude,
See,
same,
he
it's my
gets
favorite.
it. He gets it, guys.
Yeah.
I watched I watched 13 episodes. Like, oh my god, this is great. They're evolving the game world. There's so many interesting things they can. What the fuck? Oh, slime people. Like they have like they're slime people, and I like what are they doing to these other people? They're harvesting them. I don't know. This is not what I signed up for. I hate it. And yeah.
Cool, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically it.
That's how I felt. And also I was like so sold on like you need to like get all the way through the tower to the and then they just abandoned that.
Yeah.
Come on.
So that's why we're excited for Progressive, because he's doing all
apparently
this.
Progressive
like that.
fix all of that.
Yes. He's going
Oh,
through
God.
what's the first book you said, Comfy? The first 2 books are like what?
One book per level of per floor of the tower
Okay.
is how he's writing it. I think he's 6 books in so far.
That's good. We'll get some
good.
good story then, because that means it's actually long.
Oh no.
Now, to be fair, I will point this out for you, Ben. Not everybody liked it, but I happen to enjoy Alicization, which is the latest arc that they'd put into the anime. Everything else up until Alicization is real bad, and then you can watch Alicization. You can be like, I get it. It's not that bad. It's pretty interesting.
Dragonball.
Okay.
Stop.
So my only opinions on Alicization are, if SAO like original is the bar of what is good in SAO, it's like Gun Gale and then Alicization, but the rest of anime is like here. So
That's hey.
like Alicization is the best SAO currently, but
I feel like it takes the rest of the world seriously instead of memeing itself to death. Like Alicization has like a bunch of like real world implications, and knowing you, Ben, like jumping into the world of like what would it mean if we built a true AI from the ground up inside of a system that like allows it to be an actual sentient AI, and then what's the process to take that outside and allow it to become like a living being in the real world. Like that's basically the story arc of Alicization, even if it's not like the best thing. So like I feel like you'd enjoy it at a very base level of enjoyment. So
again, SAO Alicization is the best SAO content they've ever released. The bar's not very high, but it is the best.
that's fair. That's fair.
I will openly admit that.
So, other news, real quick. Tim, this is yours because you got the next 3 things.
Oh God. Okay. So Horimiya, which is just really cute shoujo bullshit. Honestly, like if you're having a bad day and you need to have the warm fuzzies, Horimiya will be great. It's premiering in January. I'm excited.
It's not by Cloverworks.
Something...
It's not by Cloverworks.
Yeah, and Cloverworks always does a good job, except when they don't. But when they do, it's great.
Well, but
What's this about? Is it just slice of life garbage? Like,
yeah, it's at the end of the day. That's really what it is.
Slice of life garbage, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
Not a fan of slice of life.
Oh no, we love
listen,
slice of life.
I can love garbage. It doesn't stop it from being trash.
Exactly.
Okay.
See, that's in. Well, to be fair, in the anime world, it's kind of if you can have the shonen sluts where all they do is watch Naruto and One Piece, and they just live and die by it's got to be a tournament arc. The guy's got to be the underdog, and he's got to train really hard, and then he's got to beat the villain, and then the villain's got to be just a little bit better than him.
Ben, it's okay being shonen
He has
sluts.
friendship. He has
No,
friendship.
But the power of
fucking
friendship.
dope. Yeah, I get it, dude. 100%. Keep going.
Exactly.
What's the name? Quit teasing me. What is the name of this one that you're talking about?
Yes, the answer is
I've
shonen
never heard
anime.
of this ever before. I've never heard of this
You're
style
telling
of
me they
entertainment.
can yell and become stronger?
Ah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's totally okay. There's the people that absolutely love isekai, which is the I was transported to another world genre. SAO is isekai.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, totally.
Yes.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes, that's an entire genre.
That's an entire genre, and everyone has decided as a group that it's garbage. And it's okay to be isekai
But
trash.
doesn't everybody like the slime one where the guy's a slime?
Yes, actually,
Yes!
everybody loves
So
slime.
good.
Again, Just because there's a diamond in the rough does not mean the whole thing isn't garbage.
I'm
The
just
exception,
saying,
not the
man.
rule.
I'm just pointing out what little I know about these things. Like,
To be fair, the slime one was actually really,
Slime
really
one
good.
was real good. So was Rising of a Shield Hero.
all
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna mess up whatever your flow is. I need you, because I trust you, to tell
Yes.
me why the slime one is good, and also what its actual name is.
The actual name is that time I was reincarnated as a slime.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
Yes.
bullshit, long ass name. Okay.
Yes, that's also a trope of isekai, is just long names for no apparent reason that is just very
Light
specific to
novel.
exactly what it is.
Oh, that's part of the meme. Oh,
Yes.
I got
Yes.
it.
So like the Rising of a Shield Hero is like
More on
a
that later.
longer name than should necessarily be ready, but like because it's the Rising of the Shield Hero, it's the whole name. So
I
like
want to make sure that that's actually the
Isekai
whole
Cheat
name.
Magician. Like, that's not really a long name, except for the fact that it's absolutely garbage in everything that exists because it takes all of the tropes and does them all badly.
Got it.
Do you love your mom and her 2-hit multi-target attacks?
Yep, that's one. Yep, that one exists.
That's an anime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's an actual anime.
That's an actual
Yes,
anime.
This dude and his mom go into an MMORPG where it's like about
It's-
moms trying to make their sons feel better about being, I don't even remember.
Useless.
I watched,
Okay,
Watch-
you know what?
yeah,
How about
emasculated.
this
I watched
way?
the first
I'll
two
just-
episodes.
I'll just give you the short version that everyone calls it. They just call it the MILF Sakai.
Yeah.
That
So
should give you a general idea of.
So do the moms fight each other?
Yes.
Yes.
For the kids?
Actually,
They're-
kind of.
And they're way
There
more
is a scene of
powerful
that.
than their kids, too.
It's just
But it's supposed to help these poor,
Dude,
soul damaged, impotent.
I need to remember, what did
kids.
MMORPG stand for?
that
There's
don't
a
feel like
mom
they have
somewhere
any
in there.
power in their life.
yes, basically.
You know what? Let's get back to the news while
Mom's
Nate looks.
massively maternal multiplayer making up with offspring role-playing game. That's what it
God,
was
that's
called.
messed up, man. So like these kids have bad self-esteem
Yeah.
and low levels of personal agency, and so instead of learning how to be better, they just say, "Mommy, take me into this video game."
No.
no.
Their
They have
moms
no
take them
choice.
there.
Yes.
Oh, they get
Again.
dragged in there.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why
that's
it's an
kinda
isekai.
funny.
That's why it's an
Kinda
isekai.
funny. Oh, because it can't be a choice. I get it. Okay.
Basically.
Nice play on the genre, person who wrote that. I respect your work. I know all of it, like other thing.
So that's your isekai. Then what else is there? Like Fate?
Shoujo?
Well, like okay, that's true.
Well, there's ecchi.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How do I describe
And
ecchi as?
explain your
Otherwise,
favorite genre.
it's not my favorite genre. Shut the fuck up. It is my second favorite genre. Ecchi is the best way to describe it. Is it's either lewd or hentai light.
Yeah, that's basically
It really depends. Depends how far they're willing to push the boundaries. And the farther they push it, the less I enjoy the show.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. And then
Like-
yeah, go ahead.
Light ecchi is usually funny because it's like you get that little bit of fan service where like, and this is something that I hate in this one show, but it is sometimes funny in others. In Fire Force, you have a character. Her name is
Maki.
not Maki.
Not Maki. Oh,
Tamaki.
Tamaki. Yeah.
Tamaki. She has what's known as the Lucky Lecher lure. Basically, she like falls out of her clothes regularly and just falls
Or they
on top
burn
of
off.
guys,
Or they burn off.
or they burn
oh,
off
man,
or
I
whatever.
hate it when that happens.
It's fan
Yeah.
service. Like it's really like it sometimes takes you out of the fight, but it can be very good comic relief.
I get
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Just like the fire that burned the clothes off.
Oh my god.
And then
No, I
what?
get it. I get it. I get
What's-
it.
what's-
I get.
What's the
That's
other big? What's the other big genre? We have like isekai, shonen. We have isekai. We have shonen. We have
Slice of life.
Slice of life. I guess slice of life is the last like big genre.
Yeah, slice of life is your basic everyday, like, if Friends were an anime, it would be slice of life.
Yeah.
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 Now, what about maybe this is a subgenre of the ones you described, and I'm dumb, but like when I was growing up, it's like everybody had harems everywhere. Isn't that
Oh.
a genre?
Harem
Harem-
anime.
Harem is kind of
That's like a subgenre. It depends.
Okay.
If,
Yeah.
like you can have
a subgenre. Eat it, people who think I don't know about anime.
you can have like a slice of
I
life
knew
that like is
about
a
the harem.
You could have like a slice of life that's like a subgenre of a harem where it's just like cutesy, like one guy ends up living with like 6 girls and like
there was that one on Toonami where the dude was like in space and like everybody was what the fuck was that called?
I don't know, but I'm intrigued.
I want to know now.
Oh my god, no. Oh, I hate it. No, I just had the idea.
I know it's
What
not
is
Tiger
it?
Cats, but
No, it's not, dude. Are we talking about SWAT cats?
I was actually making a reference to Thundercats.
This is clearly This is all Thundercats.
This is a Thundercats
Wait, it
podcast
was
now.
all Thundercats?
Always
It's
has
always
been.
Nah, it was fucking. God damn it.
This happens to me all the time. Muchi Tenyo, Poppins says.
Yeah. Tenshi Muyo.
Yeah.
Or whatever. However you fucking say it. I probably said it wrong.
I mean,
It's
that's fine. I probably would
Muchi
say it
Tenyo?
wrong myself. I don't think I've ever seen this.
I have definitely never seen this. This is one that I'm not familiar with.
I kind of.
I have no idea.
Tenchi Muyo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that was the one.
Oh,
I
yeah, no,
watched
this
that.
definitely...
I didn't know what I was watching. I was just like, damn, he's in space. All these chicks is helping him kick ass in space. This is dope. And then later, I was like,
Oh, that's
wait a
right.
minute.
Okay. So
it's
Tim,
harem shonen.
No,
This
no,
is
no,
everything
no.
that everyone has ever needed in their life.
Tim, it just looks like if you put Inuyasha in space and then gave it the Darling in the Franxx treatment. That's literally all it looks like.
No.
That making it end poorly?
No,
Don't-
that's a
I hope
trigger
it doesn't
treatment. That's a trigger treatment. That's not a Darling in the Franxx treatment. I was
mean,
talking about.
Trigger definitely did that.
I
to
was talking about
Darling.
groups of children fighting space aliens
Oh, okay.
for an ulterior motive.
That's just anime.
I mean, kind of.
Sorry.
You're not wrong.
You caught me
Anyway.
off guard. We should explain the trigger treatment to Ben, just so
Yes,
that he
please.
is aware of the joke.
Okay.
Trigger's the
So
studio.
The trigger treatment is the Game of Thrones, except just in anime. Trigger
Yeah,
treatment is Game of Thrones, but in anime.
So Studio Trigger has a tendency to write a really great story and present it great in the first half, and then just absolutely fuck it up in the second. Like, like somebody decided halfway through to take a tab of LSD, waited for it to activate, and then halfway through their trip decided to write the rest of the story.
Basically.
And it happens all the time with almost every show they put out. So it's the Trigger treatment. So
It's just
Trigger's been doing that since before Game of Thrones started. So Game of Thrones got a Trigger treatment from
Yeah.
HBO.
yes. It's really frustrating. So
Or George R.R. Martin, whoever decided what that ending was going to be.
I don't. Why? Why was it so bad? Anyway, we're gonna get the last 2 pieces of news real quick, and then we'll just like keep going wherever we're going. I'm gonna do bullet points. Bullet point number 1. Fruit Basket, the anime, is getting its final season in 2021. There's a lot of stuff coming. If you guys have been reading the manga, you should know what's going on and be excited. Otherwise, like, Fruit Basket's super cute, super wholesome, super Zodiac members. TLDR for Ben. I want you to imagine
That's
a world.
the one where if the dude gets hugged, he turns into something.
Yes.
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 Bam!
This guy,
Did I fucking surprise you?
he knows more about the anime than I do.
That's because you don't watch it.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, buddy. Nah, Sam used to watch that shit. and
Really?
I was like, told me about it one day, and he told me like a bunch of it.
Yeah, so they
I don't know
remade
what
it.
story.
So they remade it.
They're remaking it,
And then they
Okay,
got a
okay.
second season, which was all original that they hadn't done from back in the early 2000s. And then this is the final 3rd season, which is the final arc of the original Fruit Basket anime. So,
Or the original manga. Yeah, it's
right.
I've read the manga. It's great.
It's
the
awesome.
ending is the most wholesome thing you'll see all year, so just go watch it.
Yep. And then finally, part of the reason we're here today, Hanma Baki, Son of Ogre, is finally getting adapted by Netflix as their 3rd part. I guess 4th part. I guess does tournament arc count as it's a 3rd part.
That was
part.
part of
Yeah.
Baki
So
on Netflix.
final 3rd part is getting adapted, where Baki finally fights Big Old Dad.
Yeah, he fights Yujiro.
So we're gonna like
I'm excited.
take a moment and go. That's the end of our
Okay.
news. So like
That's the end of news?
Let's just go.
Let's just jump
Let's
into
just
it.
go. Baki,
Okay.
hit me with all of the Baki because like I read up on the old stuff and then we watched all the
Okay.
Netflix stuff and like holy crap.
So watching the Netflix stuff's awesome. Like we were talking about earlier, there are a number of fight scenes where they tried really hard with some of the new 3D technology, and I was really sad for those fights because I was like, these would have been great to see in a way that didn't hurt my eyes. But I have to watch it because I need to know how you're gonna fight this guy.
Yes.
So I actually got introduced to Baki by my college roommate. And we watched the first 2 seasons, and he was like, "You got to watch this shit." And I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's crazy. It's like all these people fucking fighting, and they're all kung fu masters, and it's wild." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Also, the main character in the beginning, he's like 13, but he's fucking jacked, and he kicks everyone's ass." And I was like, "Okay, I'm like super in." So that was God, that was a while ago. But yeah, so I enjoyed watching it. It was like kind of complete nonsense, but it's a really solid tournament anime. And I've read the manga as well. The guy that draws it, he has a very deep passion for the fighting styles that he represents. Like he does crazy amounts of research. And like if you watch the show or if you read the manga, you can really tell like this guy's an expert at figure drawing and like all this other cool shit, right?
Yep.
So I find it really interesting how there's ass loads of tournament animes out there, and there's fuck tons of fighting anime, and I watched a lot of it in my life. But this was the first time where I actually felt like there was enough of the real mixed in with everything that I connected with all of the characters on like a really human level. In the beginning, things aren't as like the first one they put on. Well, the first one they put on Netflix is after that's when everyone is like Baki has been through both of the tournaments. He's been through the underground tournament and the maximum tournament, and so you've kind of seen his growth through fighting very traditional combat. From fighting the best gang street fighter in the fucking tournament who like breaks his own arm and tries to beat someone to death with it, like just crazy shit. But like so you see him fight through like people who are like brawlers, and there's not like a lot of this supernatural kind of like crossing the line a little bit on human ability, like everyone's a little bit superhuman type stuff. That's kind of what they introduced right when the Netflix series starts. But what hooked me on it in the beginning was, there's exceptionalism in the show. Like Baki's dad is like the most perfect fighter in the entire world down to like an anatomical level. And that's why like Baki's the like only hope that people have to ever get that motherfucker under control, because folks are fucking scared of him. And they have every fucking right to be. And like, so you see Baki go from this like this kid who is just like a whiny little baby to somebody who actually has self-confidence, and he beats his brother at the end of the second tournament. And you meet Jack again after he's had height surgery. Holy fucking shit. Which is nuts.
I sat there and was like, wait. You did what now? Like, how does that exist? Like,
make my bones longer.
Like, let me just stretch. Is that actually a thing?
Yes.
That is actually a thing. No, bone lengthening surgery is 100% a thing. So that's, again, like, that is, I think it's really interesting, because the other thing that they do when they're writing the show is they start introducing this stuff that's like this insane application of real world technology to again like enhance the narrative but make it feel real. Like, I feel like all of us could probably think of one person who's batshit crazy enough to be like, you know what?
if all my bones were 2 inches longer, I bet I could win every fucking fight I got into. You have any idea how much more muscle I could put on? Like, you know, so you're like, oh, yeah, all right. Jack got emotionally scarred by having his little brother beat his ass hard at the tournament in front of their dad. So
that's pretty
like,
emotionally scarring, in all honesty.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No.
Like,
oh
big
God,
brother,
it's
like, who?
I mean, like Jack. I mean, in the tournament, Jack's bigger than Baki as well.
Right.
So like, there's the at the end, like it's just nuts. Like you really, it was the. That's why I really wish the first 2 seasons were on Netflix, because there's quite a few times where they do a good job pulling off the oh shit. Like, is he about to like lose the tournament and this whole show is gonna go in a direction I'm not expecting? Like that. So yeah, like that fight's really good. So that's what made me kind of like fall in love with it. And then the fact that the Netflix series came out and it was like, oh, by the way, we're gonna do all the wild ass bullshit too.
Yeah.
I got super excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of like what got me really interested in it. The other thing that's really interesting to me is they do a good job in the first and second season of making certain people villains. Like oh my God, this is great. This is why I said I was gonna look up everybody's name.
Hanayama? I'm
Go
like
ahead.
trying to remember, because I've seen a little bit of original Baki, but it's been a long time, and like I remember I think there was a fight with Kaoru Hanayama, the gang boss. Like
Yeah, there was.
yeah, and I remember
totally.
them making him out as quite the villain, and then in the new series it was like, oh okay, he is just as scary, if not scarier, but at least he's on Baki's side this time.
Yeah.
Well, who does he fight? Who does he fight in
He fights Spec.
Yeah, he fights Spec, and like he just
That entire fight.
he pulls his
sequence was
shirt
just
off and is
so
like,
ridiculous.
"Sup, I am the gang leader with the baddest tattoo. Oh, by the way, let me remind you that I can't have it until blood's been spilled."
Oh my God. Oh, you're talking about.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So he was definitely, when he was introduced, he's actually one of the first people Baki fights when he's like 13. Like he gets, I can't remember the narrative leading up to it, but he gets like super pissed off at his training, and he just gets back from some training, and he's like ready to fuck someone up. So he's like, who's the fucking strongest person in town right now? And it's that motherfucker. And so he goes to fight him, and he's getting his fucking ass whooped. Yeah, Kaoru Hanayama is the first guy he fights.
Yeah.
So he's like, his whole thing, and the fucking first thing is his grip strength's fucking nuts, right? And they kind of allude to it later, but in the first, yeah. So anyway, to beat him, Baki breaks. He's like trying to fight him. He's getting his ass kicked, and he's like, oh shit, and he fucking breaks every one of his fingers one by one while they're fighting, like counter punching when he's trying to get him, and it's fucking so cool. And then he's like, oh my God, I can't. And then he just whoops his giant ass. And it's fucking cool. You're like, yeah, again, I was like, there's no way he's beating this giant motherfucker. Guy's a mountain. But he figures it out. And then, yeah, his fight against Spec is absurd.
Yeah.
I love the fact that when they do the fight against Spec, the second half of it is told as a flashback of somebody that watched it happen.
Yes.
And you're like, holy shit. This guy had to be there, survive the car getting flipped, and not get killed in the process of everything else that was going on.
Yeah.
And you're just like, the way he tells the story, you're like, okay, so Hanayama's dead. There's no way this is... No, okay, Spec is dead. There's no way. And okay,
Nobody's dead.
going. And by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, okay, but okay,
Somebody's still
next?
alive. Somebody
has to be alive.
They both came out of that fight looking haggard. Like Hanayama's entire cheeks are just gone.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a face the rest of the series. He is still like this the whole time.
He wore his mask though.
It's
He
true.
He
Man,
went out in public and wore his mask.
Props to the man.
God.
Be like
I bet
Hanayama. wear a mask.
Yeah, I bet that's a big win. Like in context now, you're like, that motherfucker wore the mask first.
He knew.
He knew.
He knew.
I think I don't know. I really loved the fight when Baki's fighting. Who's the Spec Ops guy from the U.S. who like has all the implants and stuff? Totally forgot his name. Starts with a Y.
Oh, Doyle.
Doyle. Like that. Like he's just like, I don't know, man. Like you tell me. Like I guess we're fighting, but like oops.
Oh yeah.
Oops.
I have knife hands. My
Oops.
hands
Let
are
me
knives.
just like accidentally shoot you. Or stab you with a blade that's in my elbow.
I like his mentality of, I can be the perfect weapon if I just simply duct tape weapons to myself. So let's just go in. Let's like,
It's
give
like,
me
oh, cool.
knife hands.
Knife hands?
Yeah.
How about I just have bombs strapped to my chest? I have plastic explosives on my chest. That's fine.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
I was
I'm like, ha.
I was not a huge fan of Doyle as
Really?
I was like, I don't dig on Doyle. Well, I mean he's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, he's as a plot driver, but like I found everyone else. I was like, oh okay.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
you're like the guy that modifies his body. I'm not into that. I want to know more about like the crazy kung fu training shit.
he gave me more of like a Terminator vibe, which I guess is why I liked it. You know what I mean? Like I still love. I
see
love.
that.
I like. Don't get me wrong. I love all of it. I like all of it. Like all of it's probably like my second favorite character. Like period. The man's is just like
Oliver. Yeah.
all of it. Like I don't understand anything about that man except for the fact that he's literally just a giant hulking muscle of mass, and like is just muscle itself. And he's like, man, like. I guess you can't even shoot me anymore.
Are you talking about? Are you talking about
Biscuit.
Yeah.
Oh
Biscuit.
my god. Yeah.
Biscuit is the
He
best.
walks into a room of like 20 black belts. He's like, can I have a black belt? I'm like, well, you see,
Yeah,
it takes a lot of training and effort. And he beats one of them. He's like, if I beat all of them, can I have a black belt?
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to get his oh god, his 5th level black belt in judo, and it's like he doesn't even have a white belt yet.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like, my favorite part about that point is like he fights the dude, like the master, and like the master pseudo trains him, and
Shimokawa.
he explains it to him as he's going along, and then he's like, "Oh, like this," and it's just like crack, and you're like, "Oh, like that." Like I just
Yeah, and then in like the second season, when they're at the tournament, and Biscuit's in the fight, he's just like, you just got to do the same thing over and over again. It'll work eventually. I just keep whacking this dude on the head. Eventually, he'll fall over.
I think so. This is my introduction to Baki. Actually, was the final Raitai tournament. I inadvertently watched that first, like 4 years ago. It was like,
Oh, really?
I was doing I was doing that like old YouTube binge where it shows clips, and then I found it like on my anime list, and then was like, okay, well, like, and then I went and watched it. I think it was like on one of the older like streaming anime sites, and so I was like, oh, this is cool, and so I watched that whole thing first. So it was really weird for me to like watch the pre part and then go back and watch some of the old stuff because I did it all in reverse order. So to this day, I'm still perpetually mystified by Muhammad Ali's return.
Oh,
to end everything.
Well, that's actually one of the things I think is like really interesting. A lot of, or some of the characters, like Biscuit being one of them, are based off of like real people.
Yeah.
And so the fact that when I was reading it, I was like, what the fuck? Like, how are you just gonna bring out Muhammad Ali? Like,
Yeah.
This feels like a little like I don't know where this is going. But he uses Muhammad Ali and his encounters and relationship with Yojiro to really drive home how he feels like narratively the purpose of people training to fight, and it's to protect people who can't protect themselves. And so like it's very interesting that like philosophically a lot of stuff doesn't dive again like directly into one side or like enough of reality to make it feel impactful.
Yeah.
But by introducing Muhammad Ali and then having their interactions with like their conversation with each other that night when he was training, right? It sort of made me think about oh, like this is a real world perspective I haven't considered about people who decide to pick all of this stuff up. Like maybe this is like a motivating factor for some people that I wouldn't consider because I'm not necessarily a combative person that would like want to engage in a fight. But some people are like that. So I thought that was just really interesting that there's this continued theme that the strength that you gain only has value if you're using it to protect something important. And so you can see the ascension of that even in the combatants that Baki faces the entire time, because they all start out as like random scrappers from the street, and at the end, it's the Grand Raitai tournament, and it's people who like this only happens once every 100 years, and it's the best of the best of the best.
Yeah.
And these are people who fight for and protect individuals in like different regions of the world. So it's really interesting to see like a relatively philosophical concept brought home like again and again and again. It's one of the reasons why I like the show a lot.
I don't really think there's too much else to say about that point in specifics, just because I think you nailed it all down. Like that's one of the things that I enjoy about anime, I guess, in its entirety, is the ability to do that without losing a sense of the story. Like, because I feel like a lot of times in other forms of media that we get, like a lot of these bigger movies and so on and so forth, you end up losing some of that philosophical depth for like insanity. And like in anime,
we're going to talk about Hunter x Hunter.
No, I wasn't going to yet. If you want me to talk about Hunter x Hunter, like
Paul can find a way to put Hunter x Hunter into pretty much anything.
You're not wrong.
Well, but like,
one
of his points with it is the philosophical.
One of my favorite. So Hunter x Hunter sits in my top 3 favorite anime of all time, simply because the ending of Hunter x Hunter's last 2 arcs are some of the most interesting philosophical discussions on humanity in general that I've ever seen portrayed in a visual media, right? Like, the ending is twofold. The first side of it is those who have something to protect are willing to do absolutely anything to protect it, even if it's like heinous and irredeemable, and like, and this is the second side of that, which is like, it's so very unlike animals, which when you beat somebody, you're willing to just like leave them alone. Like when an animal beats another animal in a fight, they're like, go lick your wounds. Like, you've been beat, piss off. Right. But like humans as a general rule, and this is shown like in Hunter x Hunter, in stuff like Ender's Game, etc. It's like, no, it's like annihilated. Like, I don't care. Like, never again. I refuse to let this present itself ever again. Like, I do everything I possibly can so that you never have a chance to be where you are now again. Right. And that's like a human philosophical concept. And so like the end of Hunter x Hunter is all about that. The entire last half of the final arc is literally dedicated to that concept. And then the final act of that is dedicated to the flip side of that, which is like, you're also very willing to go against everything that is originally held dear to you, like your family, like everything your family thinks should be right. Like, you're willing to go against that to save people you care about, even at the expense of like your own reputation and like your own system. And then also like a great little father-son story where like kid finally meets his dad, and his dad's like, this is why I did what I did. This explains this thing. This is why I was trying to let you get to where I am, so then we can also go on adventures. Because if you weren't able to get to where I am, you can't get to adventures by yourself. So like, it's these 3 deep philosophical concepts at the end of an entire anime that like is the reason I love that. And that's why, Company was pointing out that I talk about Hunter x Hunter so much, is because like like, it's just, you don't find those things in traditional media as much as you would, in anime, like we've come to enjoy it. So, your point about Baki progressively like getting more and more things to protect at some level, so he gets stronger and stronger, is a whole thing. And I think, I mean, we got to talk about the scene where like,
Go ahead. Which one?
We're gonna talk about sex, because apparently
they go
We're
there.
gonna talk
I don't
sex,
like. I
babe.
mean, they do. I just like. I don't know where to like continue
You
with
don't
that
need to
point.
sugarcoat it.
I know, but like what? Like
Paul, where do babies come from?
Oh my god.
the goose, Nate. The goose.
A goose. Okay.
Wait.
They come from a goose? I
It's a
thought they came
stork.
from the stork.
It's a stork. I know.
Did you
I said goose.
misremember?
No.
Okay.
I just say the
Prison
goose.
birds?
Paul, back to the point.
Back to
hand,
the point.
please.
So from somebody who's not married, right, or like ever
Right.
spent any like significant amount of my energy in that direction, like
Sure.
it was very, especially at the time when I first originally watched that second season, was like, this is so weird, you know, like because I watched that when I was like 15, you know, I was like,
Sure.
huh, you know, and so like it didn't comprehend there like what the functional application of that was, you know, and then you get a little bit
Yeah.
older and you're like, whoa, emotional connections, one hell of a drug, bud,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and like I don't know where to go from that, because like that topic's so interesting to talk about, and like there's so many different ways you could take that, because it ends up being like what is a thing to protect other than that which you love.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, the other thing that's interesting about Baki's journey is that everybody assumes he's doing what he wants to do because like he wants to become the strongest, like, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a shit. That's not what he wants. He just wants to fight his dad. And he knows, and he's like, unfortunately, that's my
Just-
dad. So like he's like, you know,
It
he's
just
like
happens to coincide.
I
Yeah, I
love
mean,
the
he's like-
mentality of if he was the weakest creature in the world, as long as I'm not the weakest,
yeah.
good enough for me. Just want to kick his ass.
Yeah. So it's a very like he has a very singular purpose, which is counter to the expectations of everyone around him.
Yeah.
Which is by definition the hero's journey. You break with culture and do what you think you need to do. So I actually find that those two concepts really interesting, because a lot of us have problems when, like, you know, let's say somebody wants you to do something and they think that, and you know, the second you do it, they're gonna be like, it's because they want X, when in reality, you know, your motivation is completely different.
Yep.
And sometimes a lot of us are resistant to walking that path, even if it is something that is good for us and might make our lives better in a general sense, because we don't want to appear to be like giving in to these people because they don't know. Baki never gives a shit.
Yep.
Like never once. And so I think for me, I thought that was a good lesson. I was like, oh wow, like literally his whole life he was moving in the direction people expected him to. But he never once was like worried about whether or not they knew why he was doing it. He didn't need them to understand that.
I think
And
it's also
that's like a good lesson.
I think it's also kind of jarring when like you go back. So for anybody who like hasn't watched the whole thing, you're just like, oh my god, like his father's a monster, and he like has this weird like obsession with killing him, or at least fighting
Yeah.
him and beating him. But like,
Yeah.
but like if you've watched all of the old stuff and you like figure out about his mom and like how his dad is inadvertently one of the biggest pieces of shits in the world while also simultaneously being the strongest and most protective person in the world, like
Yeah.
you have this weird conception of Baki's doing whatever he wants because he wants to just be the strongest in that. And that you're right, like you have this whole point about the hero's journey. So like, and it's interesting, he just progressively gets more and more to protect. Like at first, you know, like at the very end, he's like, okay, I'm protecting me, my girl, and now my friends. And like, I didn't want to kill Muhammad Ali Jr. and I'm glad his dad protected him because I really honor and respect him. And like, you know, it's this thing that progressively gets more and more like selfless while being like, yeah, but I also got to go kick my dad's ass. Like I got to go kick my old man, you know, in the teeth. So I really enjoyed that about the series, how it like progressively paints him with more and more complexity as you find out more and more about his fights.
How did you like seeing Yojiro fight for the first time? Like actually fight against that old man.
I don't even know if it was so much about Yujiro as it was like the dichotomy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting.
Because at some
The
level,
lion
I
was like,
well, at some level, I don't think we've really seen Yujiro fight, because like he was kind of like playing that, and he makes and it makes it very apparent that like there came a point where he was like, oh, this is how this all works. Because like he goes literally, he's like, I will never use this again. Like he uses the old man's technique in reverse, and he's like, I'll never use this again. Now, like, it's not worth it. Like I could, I've just shown you that I can, but no. You know what I mean?
I don't need it.
Now that I've proven I'm better than you, I'm gonna do it again, but with my own hands.
So like, it's just a weird. Again, I feel like that whole fight was like dichotomy, which is almost in one essence showing Baki himself that like you can do both. Like it was. I haven't read the rest of it, but like that gives me a very particular feeling about like how the rest of it is literally like Baki realizing that you can absolutely be both, and like proving his dad that like one is not a form of weakness nor is another inherently absolute strength is an interesting concept. You know, particularly because the old man dies like of old age right there, like on the field before he could actually beat him. I mean, yes, he dies and then he like comes back, but he dies. You know, like very, 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 very interesting, you know, again, philosophical point, you know, which is like which one is more right. And I think, you know, Baki's whole journey is to prove that neither. So
I agree.
This has been a great discussion. I'm just enjoying myself. Like honestly,
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Nice.
me showing up to half of my mandatory meetings.
guys, real quick, we're gonna take a quick ad break now that we're a decent way in. Check a message from one of our sponsors. And we just take a couple minutes to like relax, kind of figure out where we're going next, and say hi to Patreon.
Hi.
So
I'm a sponsor.
we usually run our King's Coast. I need to get a new King's Coast one from
We need the new
we need the autumn
one.
one. Either the autumn or the other discussion.
Yes. Whoever's in charge of marketing there should get that to you. Whoever that is.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've recorded one.
I don't either.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think they have.
No. I'm so stoked for the rest of this NVIDIA stuff to come out, though. Oh, Tim, what did you want to ask Ben about the what thing were we talking about before stream? The acquisition, the Bethesda Xbox.
Oh yeah. How do you feel about it? What's your take?
Should be something people expect. So everyone who, I mean, I understand that we're surprised by the acquisition because you never know when things like this are going to start happening. But I've thought for a while, you know, gaming is becoming more corporatized as everyone's finally realizing how big the industry is. So people are going to start taking on higher level corporate behavior, which traditionally starts, or at least it's currently the strategy, is consolidation. So you look at Disney's acquisition of Marvel, and before that, their acquisition of Star Wars, and trying to collect IPs, and now that's allowed them to build this sort of powerhouse to feed everything else that they're doing. Microsoft has always, with Xbox, had the primary goal of it being the central hub of entertainment in your home. They are rolling out what I would consider to be their first full realization of an attempt at that. They've tried a whole bunch of stuff. They tried Kinect, all these integrated features. They were usually first to market with some of the live streaming / entertainment deals. That's why they had all the wonky bullshit. But now they have an offering that is essentially a better video output device than you're probably going to want to purchase for yourself ever. Series X. So if you are, you know, if you're looking at what they're doing, they are now trying to get an insane install amount on that and sell Game Pass to people.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so they want to build value into Game Pass so they can stay competitive, and then also force action from Sony, who doesn't really have any comparable product. I know they made a point of like, look at PlayStation Plus, so blibbity blue. But I mean, that is all the PlayStation exclusives. Their IPs on Sony is their strength, but I think we're going to see a lot more of this
100%
behavior.
Yeah.
I
I think the rumor that Microsoft was trying to place a deal with Bungie is not like I think Pete Parsons came out and said that's not true because that's not like the particulars of it, and what they were saying wasn't true. But I would not be surprised that if there's some sort of discussion going on in regards to that. You know?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to happen, and this was not something that I wasn't expecting. I just wasn't expecting, to wake up on a Monday and go, oh, I guess Xbox owns Bethesda now.
Yeah,
Guess that's how that's going.
No, I mean, being surprised this morning. 100%. I was like, is this real? This feels huge. How didn't it leak?
That was what I was most surprised about, was the fact that nothing leaked.
I thought this was the leak, not like this was the formal announcement.
No, that's I'm also really, I'm excited. I'd love to see.
The fact that Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out on Game Pass at launch is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I sat there and I was having this discussion with someone. I was like, I have the option to go out and buy a Series X or a PS5 for myself right now, and like I can't decide where I'm at. And I'm like, Game Pass looks like an amazing value, period.
Yeah. Like, it's the best value in gaming, hands down.
It is. It's so stupid. Like, how can you validate or like not getting Game Pass if there's at least 2 games on there that you want? Right? Yeah. Like, if you spend $15 and get Game Pass for a month,
5 months, and haven't launched a single game from it.
Okay. Yeah. So you spend $15 and you play both of those AAA games that you wanted, you just saved yourself like $95.
Yeah. It's insane. I'm just excited. I'm also excited to see what like Microsoft funding allows these companies to do. Cause like I want to see some of these smaller, like, cause they already have their smaller studios. Like, I'm excited to see what keeps coming out of them, but like, Microsoft is already in a lot of this big tech too. So I'm excited to see what Microsoft big tech trickle down does to these companies.
I'm excited to see what Azure allows these companies to do for their workflow and for the games.
Like, Ben, in regards to like what we were talking about on Monday in general, right?
Yeah.
Like the trickle down effect of Microsoft having their hands in that into the games is something that's really interesting to me.
Yeah. So, and then like they're gonna own a lot of different IPs, which means they can dictate how those IPs interact.
Yeah.
Like you can get.
Are you ready to get a Smash Bros game from everything and just get like a random Dragonball?
Like the first. Some of the first things I saw on Twitter, people talking about it is like, are we gonna get a fucking like Microsoft Smash Brothers, like for all the people they own? You get the I mean, what do you have? You have
Doom Guy, Master Chief, the Arbiter. Like, you could have such a sweet
kid. Literally just the Dragonborn.
Same character 3 times.
Dragonborn.
You said the same character 3 times.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Honestly, they could put like Prophet of Truth in there, and he'd effectively be Game & Watch, and honestly, I would still slam the shit out of him into whatever stage it was.
That sounds awesome. And also, like, you could make, like, they could be like, all right, it's Microsoft, and we make games for adults. It's super brutal. You're fucking, like, sawing.
Can we get, like,
we get the Mortal Kombat
Mario Kart?
With the Gears chainsaw. Like,
yes!
Like,
I want this as a Mario Kart version where you just actually murder each other. It's great.
Yeah,
but they still keep the tiny go-karts.
Can we get Mad Max Fury Road, but Microsoft Mario Kart?
Yeah, that's exactly
Fury
it.
Road. Yeah.
Microsoft Fury Road.
Okay, let's get back on our Ben's time.
Warthog go-karts.
Okay, here we go. Guys, welcome back to episode 13 with Professor Broman.
Hi.
We're just, Baki's fun. Baki's
conversations.
Fun. I kind of want to jump back real quick to like the older stuff that we got into in the middle bit of news, just because it was fun.
Okay.
Like, what other random anime have you seen that you want like questions answered about? Because we started answering your questions about slime, right? But like, what other stuff that like do you want from our perspective?
Yeah. Oh man. Let me see. Why? Okay, hang on. Okay, why do people like One Piece?
Tim, Go.
Oh god, that's a Pandora's box.
That's a 100% a Pandora's box.
Okay,
Have you ever heard of Stockholm syndrome?
Okay.
Okay, Nate, I wasn't going there immediately, but I definitely was getting to that.
What?
So
So they just feel trapped.
One Piece, like, the beauty of One Piece's manga is the fact that you can pick it down, or you can put it down, pick it back up. The problem with the anime is if you do that, you're gonna miss 30 episodes, and you don't know if that episode is filler or real. So then you have to go to another website and find out if it's filler or real, or you just have to watch all of them, and it just becomes a like, once you're, 900 episodes in, you're not gonna give up. Really, like.
To put that in perspective, like the reason I have not watched One Piece yet, Ben, is because it collectively back to back. If you did everything and like you left the opening and ending in, it's over 26 straight days of anime. 24 hours, days, periods. So like, there's a level of I just don't have that kind of time in my heart at the moment to invest to a singular anime. You know what I mean? Like if I had watched it at the beginning and I was caught up with all 1,083 episodes or whatever it is right now, like, sure. Like I'd love to be into One Piece because like who has problems with pirates with superpowers? Nobody. Like if you have problems with pirates and superpowers, I may want to have a conversation with you. We just want to talk, right? But
yeah,
the flaw of One Piece is that simultaneous fact of like it is 1,000 episodes of pirate goodness.
940 right now.
Okay.
It's 949 to be exact.
There you go.
So like
I was just gonna round up to 950, but it's approximately 380 hours of anime.
Yeah,
That's a lot of anime, bro.
Now,
you got tired just thinking about it.
yeah, like
Yeah, that made me want to take a nap.
so if you sat there and
stressful.
watched all 949 episodes, at that point you would just commit to it, right? Like you'd come back to it every single week. And One Piece is absolutely great. Oda does a great job threading plot lines from chapter 1 all the way to current. Some of them we still haven't like actually gotten to pull on them and see where they go.
Okay.
So especially in the manga where like you have these special panels at the start of every chapter that tell the story of other characters that are going on, and those special panels will be referenced later in the manga.
Okay.
So if you're not paying attention, you'll miss a whole shit ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has a lot of replayability in the sense of like you can rewatch it and you'll get something out of it almost every time. You'll learn
And
something, you'll see something.
Was it you that I was trying to do the math with on like if we watched one episode of One Piece a day, how long it would take to finish One Piece? And at the rate that it's coming out, by the time we finished what's currently out, it would have added like 4 more years of content or something.
Yeah, something like that. If you watch
It's absurd.
It's ridiculous. Like I'm current with the manga, and if I put it down for more than 5 weeks, I'm like, I'm not coming back to it until like I finish literally everything else and everything I'm doing in my life. So I'll see you in a year.
Why I'm glad I'm illiterate. It's really easy not having to read.
Oh my god.
So like that's the thing about One Piece is like it's great. The story's there, the characters are there. Like if you go watch like the clips and the fights on YouTube, like it's there. You don't even have to like jump into One Piece to do it. Like you can enjoy it in chunks, But at the same time, of course, you have 949 episodes.
I really enjoyed about 150 of the 300 episodes I've watched.
Yeah, and the thing is there's the first 12 arcs are really, really, really good, except for one of them. One of them is a mistake. And
I want to guess where I stopped watching.
You know what the best part is even Oda has admitted that this arc, he fucked it up. He fucked it up.
He didn't like Scooby-Doo the arc?
Yeah. Okay, it's called Thriller Bark. Which if you haven't figured it out, it's Scooby-Doo. It's Scooby-Doo the manga for 100 chapters, and it's a living hell. And
it's actually Scooby-Doo. It's like cartoon zombies, and they're like, "Oh no, man, they're gonna find us."
It's
by
the time you get to it, the end of it,
garbage.
you're just glad it's over. And I have never experienced that in the rest of One Piece, where I'm like, I just want this to end.
Yeah. The only other thing that I've had that experience with as of late was that one little section in God of High School in the manga.
Oh yeah,
There's
a
a certain
Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, but see, that's because you hate bugs. Like, that's not because it's bad. That's because you have a deathly fear of
Maybe if there were giant wasps stabbing people through the chest, I wouldn't have a fear of them.
See,
you know what? I feel like that's a relatively reasonable one.
100%, I agree. I just, when Comfy got uncomfortable, like he was like, "Oh, guys, I'm gonna watch Hunter x Hunter." Tim and I just looked at each other and kind of chuckled for a minute because the entire last arc is literally chimera ants, which is literally like anthropomorphized animals that like have superpowers almost fighting against the main characters, and Comfy just had moments of like, it's an actual ant trying to run at this character and chase him. I am now mortally terrified.
Yeah.
But it matters, and it works, and it's a real good arc, in my opinion. But
yeah. Ben, if you look in the guest house channel of the Discord, you can see what one of these ants looks like.
Oh, no. Which one did you post?
Guest house. That's a weird-ass ant.
I mean, that's the queen.
Yes, that is.
Thanks, I hate it. Why do we allow this?
Because you looked.
Okay, to be fair, I did say what it was going to be.
That's true.
Yeah, and I don't know why I clicked anyway.
So
that's
like,
not my fault, Ben.
I just like, and that's the thing that I love about One Piece. Side note, I want to say you should probably watch God of High School because all the things that you mentioned about Baki are very, very relatively. I know we talked about it a little bit before the podcast officially started, but like the author and the guys and Studio Mappa paid very careful attention. The guy that fights with Tai Chi in the beginning, you can see him actually practicing Tai Chi. The guy that fights with Taekwondo fights with Taekwondo. Mori's Taekwondo is renewal Taekwondo, which means it actually uses punches and kicks, which is also a side note of traditional like Taekwondo that was done in the Korean Wars, like which is actually a thing. Taekyon is also used. You have what's
Kenpo, the
Kenpo.
various oh god, it's Black Fist Karate. I don't remember the full Chinese name for it.
Yeah, the Black Fist Karate. Mira's sword style is actually a mirror of an actual sword fighting technique, except for her swordless stuff because like that's just like a woohoo.
It's
hand swords. Anyway, like you have all of and in all of these fights you see the different variations of it, and then like at close to the end you have Taekyon, which is like kind of a journeyman's Taekwondo kind of thing, like from before Taekwondo was officially like made, if I remember correctly, versus like Taekwondo. And so like you see them like actually going at it, and like the Taekyon users like, by the way, let me remind you of the weaknesses of Taekwondo, and points them out and starts kicking his ass in the middle of this fight and is like, let me remind you of your weaknesses because you're so high and mighty right now, and just starts whooping his ass. And like you see all these like little things like that go through it. And now we're getting to the point where it's again, like when you get to like a certain point in Baki, you're kind of like, we've kind of dropped the actual fighting out of the window, but it's still like a good time, and that's very much what God of High School is.
It's somewhere between Baki and Dragon Ball on the levels of like superhuman, at least for this first season. After that, it's somewhere past Dragon Ball, but not quite like One Piece. I think that's fair.
Okay.
See, I would argue that like where it is just beyond Dragon Ball, except it still maintains all of its like actual technical
the fighting is actually still there.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like this is in Dragon Ball, right? Like, and this is because like the style of Dragon Ball came out when you were having to do like flash frames of like, oh look, they're hitting each other and it's like explosions in the distance, ha 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 ha, right? But like we've gotten to the point now where like you can sit down in an anime and like actually watch hand-to-hand combat unfold in real time, whether that's stuff from like OG like Cowboy Bebop to like some of the newer stuff that's coming out where you see like this actual contact. It's somewhere in between that and like late game Dragon Ball, which is kind of like blurry stuff, but like it definitely emphasizes a little bit more superhuman once you get into it. So I think you'll really enjoy it. It finishes its last episode this coming Monday. So
Okay, so I can be able to watch the whole thing.
yes, you can.
Yeah,
binge
you'll be
it.
able to sit down and watch the whole thing.
Nice.
I also really
Nice.
would like. I'm gonna spoil you on the anime that started this podcast,
Okay.
Tower of God.
Okay.
It's a funny note. We were going to originally name this podcast Tower of Pod as a joke, like Tower of Podcast, because like that's how
Nice. That was
formulative.
smart.
That's how formulative this was for us.
Sure. Yeah.
The reason the three of us were literally talking anime for 5 to 6 hours a night is because the show came out. It's a Crunchyroll original based on a webtoon original. The webtoon is now 489 chapters in, I believe.
Holy crap.
I'll go look.
I
But
was about to check.
it's I don't even how do I explain this properly? Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start other than like it's probably
there's this dude.
so because like I'm trying to figure out how to explain it without starting at the end, because like if I start like with who Bam actually is, like it ruins the whole thing, right?
485 chapters, by the way.
85.
Yeah.
Okay. So like you get this main character who in the very beginning you have no idea who he is, no idea what they are, and they suddenly are running with a girl. And then the girl goes, "I'm leaving you to climb the tower."
Okay.
You have no idea what the tower is. Goes through this
Okay.
giant open gate. It's fucking gorgeous. Soundtrack's incredible.
Kevin Penkin's
A god. And so
Absolute god tier.
then Bam is sitting there left crying over her as she leaves, and then gets pulled into that same gate and enters the tower. To give you an idea, the tower is a place within the universe in which beings control a substance or a variation of a substance called Shinsu, which grants you properties such as the more Shinsu you're able to control, stronger body, like physical stronger body, immortality,
Okay.
the ability to like control it in various forms of elemental power and or like psychic variations. You're allowed to create things. You're allowed to use it as like water, like as a water beam. You can use it to create like your variation of it within your family uses it as like cherry blossom flowers that are like a flower, like petal attack almost.
They're like a heat shimmer.
Yeah.
It's like a heat shimmer. You have variations that allow you to literally become energy itself. You it is infinitesimally complex like that in terms of the system of Shinsu. It's almost as if you're taking the concept of like Bruce Lee's like become water, except like you're using that concept as your power. It's really
pretty
interesting.
cool. Neat.
And then the context of that is Bam's journey from floor 0 of the tower to the top to become the king of the tower and overthrow the current king named Jihad. But you don't quite know enough of that. I'm trying to sell you a little bit into the future.
I'm interested.
I was gonna say, all I'm gonna say is Jihad's a douche. That's the end of that discussion. That's the tea.
Wait, what?
right,
You're
all
saying
right.
that the big evil bad
no,
guy
no.
of this entire series is not a great human being?
I was just going to point out
I
that,
would never say such a thing.
and then the character that Bam is perpetually chasing after is named Rachel. And she's the girl that you see at the beginning. Her name is Rachel. And I don't want to spoil too much other than the whole
hold my
first
tongue.
the first 12 episodes of this are basically the prologue.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to describe it.
The first 12
first
episodes
series-
are the prologue of everything. To put in perspective how much I liked the prologue, I watched 2 episodes, then read 478 chapters of the webtoon in 3 days.
That was pretty solid.
Yeah, I
Like-
was like on chapter 200 or so because a
Pretty
friend had
solid.
talked to me about it like a couple weeks before the show started. So I was like reading at a reasonable pace and not staying up for 72 hours. And Paul goes, Tim, you've got to read this. You have to read
Yeah.
this. I need to talk about it.
Stay up and read this for me,
Man.
please. That's
And
amazing.
to put it in perspective, like
And then I did this. I did that exact thing. I read the next 270 chapters.
I want you to think about the series as the Lord of the Rings of anything you've ever read or seen anime wise.
Okay.
I think that's about an appropriate
You
description,
sold
Tim, right?
me. I'll check it out. It's on the list now.
Yeah,
I just really like the animation style, even though everybody hates it for some reason.
No, I love
Okay.
it.
To put it like,
Paul, let me give a
I
little
just-
more backstory
go
on
ahead.
the
Put it
actual
in
creation of the webtoon.
go ahead.
So the author was during his forced Korean military service, he would take his time on breaks, and while he was like laying in his bunk, to sketch out this huge universe. He has 5 webtoons that all take place in this universe that are separate pieces, and the only one that you can currently read in English is Tower of God, because he's pulled those from the site so that people don't spoil it. Like, they're sort of interconnected, and it's just like he had finished Tower of God before he got out of the military. So he's just spent the last 10 years developing the story. Like, this is like he knows exactly where he's going the whole time.
That's pretty fucking cool.
It's
Okay.
it
I'm
is
sold.
it is entirely, and I'm not exaggerating. It is my favorite anime world I've ever dived into. Period. Hands down. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Like, it's deeply philosophical. It's deeply like relational. It's very like intellectually impactful in regards to what the characters decide and why. Like, for example, Bam goes up the tower with a guy named Kun, and Kun is a son of the Kun family. I mean, I guess his real name's Aguero, but that's a
Yes.
Kun Aguero. And
Guero Agnes.
I guess I'll set it up this way, real quick point, because I guess this also matters too. In the tower is ruled. The tower is ruled. This is why I keep saying
It's
this.
getting really long.
Well, but like that's the
It really
crazy
is.
part is like the whole thing is so intertwined everywhere
That's awesome.
that like if you miss a thing, it shows itself later, and then you go, wait, I have to go check on that thing that I don't quite remember because that actually matters here. The point that I'm making here is that the tower is functionally ruled by 12 people groups. The towers originally climbed because the tower pre-existed before the ruling class ruled it. This is the crazy, like this is the fun part. And so the 12 people who came into the tower, who climbed to the top and now rule it, are all people who came from outside the tower that the tower chose to bring inside. And they're called irregulars. And so those people got to the top of the tower, and Jihad made a contract with the tower's administrator itself to be the king of the tower, and now nobody born inside the tower can kill him.
Huh.
And doesn't also hurt that he's like the strongest person in the tower except for 2 people that we can't name because that would spoil the whole thing.
He basically
Okay.
decided to kill God, but instead of killing God, said, "Actually, can you make it so that nobody's allowed to kill me? Thank you very much."
Yes, I would like to kill God and become God, but make it so that no one can kill me, please and thank you.
Wild.
Just put the asterisk right there.
Right. And so like you have the world which is set up around the 12 families of the 12 people who now branched out and have families because they're all immortal. So like everybody's immortal unless you die by getting killed. Right. And so those families basically rule the tower. And
You
so
think killing me would be enough to make me die.
And so you have an expansive world in which the lore stretches back like 6,000 years. And you've known about the last 2,000. And to put it in perspective, the tower's, I think it's 134 floors at current.
135.
135. And so
135 is the relevant floor that
Yes.
matters.
And so Jihad and the 12 family members made that climb in somewhere like 300 years by themselves. To give you a perspective of what it takes a regular person who goes to the bottom of the tower to try and climb the tower to become a ranker, climbs the tower, it's approximately 2,000 to 3,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then there's characters in the series who are known as prodigies. One of them you meet at the very end of season 1 here because they flash him, who like is an integral character in season 2. He did it in 50.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Another character that you meet at the very beginning, Yuri Jihad, who you'll see in the first episode, which is why I have no issue spoiling it. She did it in 500.
Okay.
So like,
And she is known as like the prodigy of them all.
Like-
Because the guy that did it in 50 is special.
he's also
cheating.
an irregular.
He's also
an
a
irre-
cheating bastard. So
And so like the way the world works is that if you're born inside the tower, you have limits established by the tower. like the administrators of each of the floors of the tower are like, this is how much power you can use. You better chill the fuck out. Otherwise I'm going to get angry at you and beat your ass down. But if you're an irregular, those rules don't apply because you're not from the tower. So you have no such contract. And
the contract with the tower says, yeah, we don't give a shit what you do. Just whatever you want.
Just don't kill Jihad yet.
Yeah. That's the only condition. Don't kill him. Not that you can't, like, not that you physically can't, but like, don't. Please don't.
Okay.
We have a plan.
And then in finality, to give like the rest of it like its end, is the thing that he established about the world in general is that it works on an established rule of fate. Everything is ordained from the beginning to the end, unless acted upon by two forces in the universe.
Okay.
One is an axis and the other is a higher axis.
Okay.
An axis is a being that exists within that plane of the universe that has absolute authority over it all.
Okay.
And so if they say something, it just goes. It happens. The universe itself that they exist in responds to such a thing.
Okay.
And then they have axes above them that are part of like the world that contains that world, in which if the axis outside deems it so, they are then processed into it. So it's this like ever evolving like line of fate. Very much like the Greek idea of like top-down ordinance.
Yeah.
But like in a factual world in which he's built so that like that's the reason he pulled everything out except for Tower of God, is because like it exists within that universe. And so we're getting to
other axes that we've seen in the other stories that it's like, okay, we can't have these guys existing for other people right now because they'll just get all confused. So the tower itself has an axis which we have yet to meet at current in the webtoon. And then there's obviously an axis outside of the tower that kind of just whips out his dick in the locker room whenever he feels like it.
Okay.
basically.
That's kind of how he deems things to be.
It's just and if you can put all of that into one package, you have Tower of God.
Okay.
And like I lost my mind. It's the reason this podcast started. Like it's my favorite hands down. So I kind of wanted to sell you on God of High School as a Crunchyroll original and then Tower of God as a Crunchyroll original, just because I think they're so very good. They're very, very well done descriptions of what anime is becoming. And the fact that we're no longer just getting stuff that's like remakes of old or stuff that is limited to a Japanese, world of view, or even just like a short term, here's 2 seasons, like good job. Like we're finally reaching into stuff that is set to be the next One Pieces. And I'd rather like, if you enjoy things as much as like, we've had this, in this discussion that you get on some of these trains early. So you're not like, oh, look, I have to spend 28 days of my life trying to get into One Piece.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I don't want to do that.
Anything else you want to ask now that I've finished my Tower of God rant?
Yeah.
No,
Considering
I'm good,
the
man.
now that
I
you're
think,
allowed to speak.
now that I can talk again. No, I'm good. I need to wrap up though.
No, that was the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna finish off with everybody's favorite part of the episode.
So yes, this is the true best content of the show.
I can't believe it's a light novel title. Comfy, go.
Okay, so light novels and anime, as we said earlier, have some really long and weird names.
Yes.
This is the longest name that I've found. I'm gonna try to read all of it out, but I'm just gonna need you to bear with me because it is a little ridiculous.
Oh no.
Okay.
The light novel title is My life is just as wrong as I expected after traveling to another world where I'm surrounded by cute girls at a magical high school and am also the fabled hero of legend. But before I tell you that story, I have to tell you this story in which I was walking along with my unbelievably impossibly cute younger sister who doesn't like me at all, and she said to me it was my fault she wasn't popular no matter how she looked at it, as we walked to school together and we stopped to look at a garden which had a flower whose name I don't remember. When suddenly a portal opened up to another world, and when I landed in a field and my face was buried in the largest pair of boobs I'd ever seen, and my sister hit me and called me an idiot while blushing. But then the girl I landed on saw the birthmark on my hand and gasped, and she grabbed my hand, and I blushed, but she started dragging me away. And my sister got mad and chased after us, and I asked where we were going, and she said she was taking us to the Grimheart Magic School. She was the school president, and then I gasped because I was now in a magical world. And when we got to the school, which was a giant castle, I asked the girl what her name was, and she said it was Akane Yusha, which I thought was a tad strange since she had blonde hair and blue eyes, and the entire aesthetic of the school seemed very ancient European. But I forgot about all of that when she told me we needed to see the headmaster because she had been taught that the mark on my hand was the symbol of the reincarnation of the legendary dragon hero of legendary literature. And I said that was a cool thing to be taught because at our school, the only book we learned was Atlas Shrugged. And she asked what that was, and I told her I was the book our society based its philosophy on a speech from. She asked me to recite the speech, which I did, and the speech went, "For 12 years you have been asking ...
I want you to know that's actually the title. That is not the description.
Fucking awful. That's awful.
We've been saving that for the whole season of the podcast.
So we were saving that for literally. So anime revolves in 12 to 13 week cycles. You have 12 to 13 episode seasons. So this is the final episode of the season. So it's the season finale for us.
Right.
And so we were like, oh, I guess we're saving that for the season finale. I guess Ben's going to be here for the longest light novel title we've ever used ever.
Amazing.
It just went. It just kept going.
It doesn't
I was never sure when it was going to end, and that was the worst part.
So is it good?
I don't know. Is it? Or is that the whole thing?
Why? How dare you not read it? I'm offended.
I'm illiterate. We've established this.
I see. Me
Okay,
too.
and then can we spoil the first one that kicked it off with the hot spring?
Oh,
Yes.
I was reincarnated as a hot spring, but it's not like being inside you feels good or anything.
That's an actual light novel too.
Oh my god.
The look on your face was priceless.
That's
see,
weird.
Welcome to the world of light novels. That's
Yes.
just Comfy literally weekly goes into a light novel database and goes, let's find the best one for this week.
I love it.
So guys, thank you for listening to episode 13 of Studio Blank. Real quick, Ben, hit us with announcements and or where they can find you on the internet.
Hi, I'm Ben Bowman. You may also know me as Professor Broman everywhere on the internet if you put @ in front of the word I just said. And also, we have a lot of cool stuff happening at Rare Drop all the time. So make sure you listen to all of the Rare Drop podcasts. Otherwise, you will be sad about all of the content you're already missing.
He's not wrong. Can confirm as employee. I'm not
Can
contracted.
confirm as not employee.
I'm
Missing
not
out on
under
those
contract to
podcasts.
say that.
I'm just here. I can't confirm or deny anything, but I trust him. I'd listen to him.
Comfy, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch at Comfimus, because those are places that I post things and do things. Hey, Tim, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch, and again on Twitter. But you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Syndaxatrix, SYNDAXATRIX. I cannot wait until I can change my name.
Soon, one day.
One day.
Soon. I just need that Twitch account to deactivate and that name to become available, and I can become Synda officially.
And then you can catch him doing all of the memes and all of the things at our Studio Blank Pod account on
at
Twitter.
Studio Blank Pod on Twitter. You can find me running that, being the meme lord that I am, running 2 Twitter accounts and just memeing constantly.
And guys,
and Paul, where do they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at I_love_Mondays, MUNDAYS, and then on Twitch without the underscores. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the season finales that are here to come. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Done there.
All
Chat.
right.
Thanks for hanging out. Patreons.